Hey, and welcome to another episode of the Marco Podcast.
A show dedicated to the realness of organization and entrepreneurship. This space was created for every woman who needs motivation or inspiration to get organized and to keep going after her dream. I'm your host, Angel J. Sit back and prepare for valuable tips, resources, laugh, and much more. If this is your first time here, welcome and thanks for joining. If you've been hanging around for a while, welcome back, and I hope you brought a friend. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode. Thank you to all of those who have completed the listener survey. I greatly appreciate it. If you have not completed the survey, please take a moment to give me your feedback. I would greatly appreciate it. I am going to leave the survey open until December 31st, 2024. So you still have a couple more days to do it if you haven't done so already. With that being said, the end of the year is upon us. This is my last episode of 2024. I honestly feel like I just told you all it was my last episode of 2023. I cannot believe how fast this year has flown by. I also feel really old saying that about how time is flying because that's what I'm used to. All the people who were older than me and wiser than me growing up would always say how time was flying. But I just feel like I don't know, ever since maybe about April or May, time was just it was zooming by. So I thought that for the last episode, I would talk about self-care. I've had several guests on here this year that have talked about self-care, and I know that this can be a stressful time of the year for many people. So I just thought that it'd be a great closeout episode. And self care looks different for everyone. It is different for everyone. There's different aspects of self care that you can focus on. Some of the main ones I will say are physical, mental, emotional, and I also threw social in there because I don't think that people think about like social being, an aspect of self care, but social is like your environment, the people that you're around, the things that you're intaking. And self care can help to improve your mood, reduce stress and anxiety, and it may even help with your physical and mental health. But just like with anything, you have to know that you need it and you have to start incorporating it into your daily life or your weekly life, however you would like to do that. And so of course you have to create a plan for it. And we all know that I love a good plan. I came across a blog post on the Calm website. And for those that don't know, Calm is an app that you can download and helps with like meditation. And I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but I believe you can like maybe set a reminder for certain times of the day for it to pop up until you just like take a rest or breathe. It has a free and a paid version on it. But they did a blog post on how to create a self-care plan, and I want to share that with you as well as share my little tidbits that I've thrown in there. So the first thing that you want to do is decide what area of self-care do you want to focus on? Is it your mental, your physical, emotional, social? I want to add in that if you feel like you need to focus on more than one area, when you're starting to create a plan, especially if self care is not something that you currently practice a lot, pick the area that you know needs the most attention, or either the area that you feel like it may not need the most attention, but if you were to be able to get self-care in that area, it would help you to kind of trickle into the other areas, if that makes sense. Second, what do you hope to gain by incorporating self-care? So are you trying to get more energy or clear mind, better sleep? Are you trying to change your environment or change the things that you're doing in your social settings? In creating a plan, you want to have goals. Third, you want to decide what self care activities will help you reach these goals. And I know with self care, people think that sometimes you have to spend thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars on it, or it's not self care. As I said in the beginning of the episode, everyone's self care routine looks different. The things that they do for self-care looks different. What I do for self-care may not be what works for you or what you want to do. But for the purpose of this episode, we are looking at free or low cost activities, and more so free activities, because we want this to be something that you don't have limits of. We don't want cost to be a factor of you not being able to get your self-care. So free activities or super low cost, like under $5. The fourth is to create a schedule that you can stick with. So this is where you need to decide if you can commit to daily, weekly, several times a week, monthly, or several times a month. How often can you realistically commit to doing this thing for self care? And once you decide on it, set an appointment for it, put it on the calendar, and stick to it, just like you would with a doctor's appointment or an event at your kid's school, or a meeting or something like that. Stick with it. Journal about it. And if journaling is not your thing, find some way to keep track of it. If you want to kick it old school, get yourself a sticker chart and put a sticker on there each day that you completed several times a week. Put your sticker on there on the days that you decided were your self-care days. Find a way that is going to make tracking it easy for you, because you want to see where you started at and how the path is going, and if you need to make any adjustments for it as well. Something that I came across while I was looking up some information for this episode is that sometimes self-care involves elimination. I thought this fit perfectly with the social pillar, because I feel like the social aspect of self-care is overlooked. And what I mean by that is your environment is your social. The people that you hang around, even social media that you're consuming, TV that you're consuming, that's your social aspect of it. And that can wreak havoc on your mental, even your physical sometimes. So when you're thinking about your self-care goals, take a look at your environment. If you're constantly around people who are always negative, never happy, always looking for the bad in the situation, people who always have a problem for every solution, you need to reevaluate that, because that affects your mood more than you're realizing it. Like, if you've ever come back from being around someone or being in a place and you're just like, I'm like mentally drained, or I'm just drained from being there, that's something that you need to look at. And so you may need to remove yourself from that environment or limit the time that you spend in it. I also understand that some environments you cannot just remove yourself from, such as work, or maybe even like your kids' sporting activities or something, that you can't just be like, oh, nope, I'm done. I'm removing myself from it. But you can identify ways to reduce your interactions with the culprits. For instance, if it's at work and you take breaks, you go to lunch with the same people every day, it may be time to change that. Instead of going to lunch with them, maybe bring your lunch from home. So now we're also saving money. And read a book on your lunch break. That can be your self care time. Or if you crochet on your lunch break instead of going out with them. Little things like that. Or if it's at your kids' sporting events or at an event for their school, sit with a different group. Don't sit with the people. Arrive earlier or later, so that you don't have to end up sitting with them, or just sit beside someone else. There are ways that you can try to minimize that. I don't want to say mood killer, but I guess it kind of is. There's ways that you can minimize that social interaction for your social self-care. Letting go of things that no longer serve you or bring you joy is a form of free self care. As I said earlier, it does not have to be expensive. There are so many free forms of self care, but it looks different for everyone. And I'm going to share my top 10 free self care things that I enjoy. Reading. Love to read. I am currently in the process of reading Harry Potter over again. I need to make more time in my routine for my self care of reading, because it's taking me way too long to read these. I should be done with them by now, but I'm only on the fifth book because I honestly have not been making all the time that I need for my self care, and I need to do that. But we have Thanksgiving break and Christmas break coming up here soon, so I'm definitely going to be incorporating that. Napping, love a good nap. I actually haven't been napping lately a lot either, which I guess is a good thing because my family says that my naps are not normal people naps, that my naps last anywhere from 3 to 4 hours. But um, take a quick 10-minute nap, a quick 15-minute nap. So I shouldn't say that I haven't been napping lately. I haven't been taking my 3, 4 hour naps lately. I have been able to get little 15, 30-minute naps in every now and then. Organizing, y'all know that I love to organize. I can't remember if I told you this or not, but a couple of weeks ago, I was in like a funk. I was just in a really bad mood. I don't know what it was, but I text my friends and I was like, y'all, please pray for me. I'm just in a really bad mood. I'm in a funk. I don't know why. I don't know what it is. So I came home, I put on some worship music, and I went into our hall closet. And I don't know why I went in the closet. I don't know if I was going to put something in there or what it was, but I opened it up and stuff just started falling out. And I was like, oh no, I cannot live my life like this anymore. We cannot do this. So I pulled everything out of the closet. And I know I always tell y'all not to pull everything out, but it's a small hall closet. Like we keep our Christmas decorations in there. We keep our suitcases in there. That's where we keep like our extra coats and hoodies and stuff like that. So that's why stuff was falling out. And that's I'm sorry, not myself. That's why I pulled everything out because it was a lot of stuff, but it wasn't really a lot of stuff. It was mostly big stuff. And like the suitcases had just been thrown back in there from the last time that we went on a trip. They weren't put back inside of the other suitcases. So I pulled everything out and I organized it. I put it together, made it look nice and neat. And then I texted a picture of it to my husband and I was like, look, this is what I just did. Just organize the closet. Nobody go in it. Nobody touch it. It's always what I say after organizing something, but they always still go in it and they still touch it. But organizing after I finished with that closet and listening to my worship music, y'all, I felt so much better. And that was a form of self care for me. And it was free. Binging a show. My husband always jokes that I will sit on the couch for 3 days, if possible, under my favorite blanket with my overstuffed elephant, and just binge a show and watch a show. And I will not move if I have the opportunity, and I will because I enjoy that. That is a form of self care for me. I enjoy binging TV shows. I enjoy laying on the couch with my favorite blanket and my overstuffed elephant. And that is another free form of self care. Listening to true crime podcasts. If you are not listening to Check the Locks podcast, you really should be because it is a great true crime podcast. And it's even one that you can listen to when the kids are around. It's a nice, clean family one. And they'll always let you know if it's something that's a little more than what it normally is. Coloring. I discovered how calming and relaxing coloring was a couple of years ago. And I actually used to have a coloring book. I think my son may have taken it, not quite sure, but I used to have a coloring book and I would just color in it sometimes. And it's so calm and it's so relaxing. And over the summer, we would do every Wednesday, we would go and do watercolor paint. And that was just so fun and relaxing. I know my son was probably like, Mom, I really need you to hurry up because he would just kind of paint all over his. And I'm really taking time to get all the colors and paint all the details. But I loved it. Sewing, love sewing. That's a form of self-care. I have been trying, I have like some fabric and stuff laying around so that I don't have to go out to Joann's and spend a whole bunch of money on fabric, but I have fabric laying around that I can make stuff with. Pinning new tattoo ideas on Pinterest, one of my favorites. I am actually due here for a new tattoo here very soon. I got my last one in January and so yeah, I actually text my artist in July with some ideas that I had, but then I changed it. I would actually honestly have more right now, but he moved from Columbia to Charlotte, which I mean, it's not a big difference, but it was just easier for me to go to Columbia and then come back. I mean, it's easy for me to go to Charlotte too, but I hate driving, y'all. So yeah. But anyways, getting the actual tattoo is not free, but pinning the ideas on tattoos is free, and I enjoy doing that. That is a form of self-care. Sorry, mom. Yes, I'm planning on getting more tattoos. I'm just gonna go ahead and let you know that now. So yes, pinning free. Actually getting them, no. Online window shopping. I talked about this in my digital declutter episode, but I online window shop a lot. My Amazon cart is full, my Shein cart is full. Um, I get emails sometimes from other places that's like, "Hey, come back, your cart is empty." And I'm like, "Hey, who are you?" Oh, Etsy, love Etsy. I am always adding some stuff on my cart in Etsy. That's the cart's kind of full as well as stuff that I have favored as well. So online window shopping, great form of self-care. And listening to music, music really can change your mood and make you feel better. And it just depends on what I'm listening to. Sometimes I'm listening to gospel music or worship music or hip hop or country or R&B. It just honestly depends. And the funniest thing about listening to music is when I'm in my car, sometimes I'll just go to the section that says like recently played or the songs that I play the most, and I'll just hit that and let it play. Y'all, there is nothing funnier than having just finished listening to a Cardi B song, and then next you hear a praise and worship song, and then next you hear a country song. I'm like, oh yeah, this is why I don't often use this because now my flow is all messed up. So yeah, I'm one of those people that you just never know what could possibly be playing in my car when you hop in there. But listening to music definitely helps out a lot. So the listener challenge for this episode is to come up with a self-care plan for yourself. Decide what area you would like to focus on and create a plan for it and come up with a free form of self-care that you can do for that area. All right. I pray that everyone has a wonderful and safe holiday and a very happy new year. And I will talk to you all on January 8th, 2025. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Modco podcast. I hope that you enjoyed this episode and learned something from it. Be sure to share this episode with a friend, family member, colleague, or anyone you think will enjoy it. Make sure you hit the follow or subscribe button. And if you love the podcast, please leave us a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcasting app. That helps others to find us and gets us listed in other show recommendations. So you all know that I run on coffee, and so does the show. If you'd like to buy us a coffee, you can do so by clicking on the link in the show notes. Thank you so much, and chat soon.